Hey tribe, welcome back to my channel. Kina Mapalomaku, a personal finance expert and author of the book You Are Not Broke, You Are Pre-Rich. Yes, it's me again. It is 2025. I know I have been on YouTube in a while, but there has been many things that have happened in the past couple of months. One of them being that at the beginning of this year, I moved. So as you can see, my background is different as I'm trying to navigate a new city and a new house. And as you can see, that artwork is not framed, but I had to put something there for now because I hate empty walls. So today I just wanted to kind of get into 2025 and do a video on an article that I wrote literally this morning. So it's 5 things you should never do with your money in 2025. And it's kind of personal finance tips and it ranges from different topics, but I've seen people make these mistakes and I want to make sure that you don't do those mistakes this year. So the first one is get married in community of property. We are not doing that in 2025, okay? And I know I've spoken about it extensively in my book, in my videos, in articles, but I still find that people are like have this moral fight, tug of war between getting married out of community of property and in community of property. And also culturally, religiously, it has quite a lot of connotations. But I think at the end of the day, I have seen that when people get married in community of property and things don't end up well, and it can either be through divorce or death, right? Those are the 2 ways in which a marriage gets dissolved. So when that happens, how you are married has a massive impact on the outcome of your financial life, right? So obviously in community of property, that's the default one in SA, that's what people know, and that's what people sort of end up gravitating towards because, well, you love your partner so much. And yeah, so even at church, you will get told that, people must get married in community of property. Even with our communities, they still encourage people to get married in community of property. I don't necessarily think there is anything wrong with it if people are perfect and live in a perfect world, and we know that that is far from reality. And I think getting married out of community of property, it's not saying, I know I'm going to get divorced. Nobody gets married to just get divorced, right? But it's really saying, let us love one another enough to protect one another. Because if you get married in community of property and your partner finds themselves in debt, either through just being a very irresponsible person, which sometimes happens, or they find themselves in a bad situation because the business didn't work out. Now, also by virtue of the marital contract, you find yourself in debt as well, and meaning that you are equally and severally liable for that debt. Another worst one that I've seen is when a partner has a child outside of the marriage and, people stay, that's their business. And if they don't maintain that extramarital affair child, then you, because you are married in community of property, you will be forced to maintain that child. I mean, you love this person, this is the love of your life. So you're willing to go to hell for them, basically. So for me, and it's a personal opinion, I'm sure you guys have your own, which is perfectly fine. But for me, it is ludicrous to get married in community of property. And yes, there are definitely benefits that you get to share equally in the riches as well. So if you got yourself a multimillionaire, a billionaire, and you get divorced, you get to take half, and vice versa, right? You get the woman gets to take half, he gets to take half. With your pension fund, every single thing you get to share half. But also there's the bad, ugly side of getting married in community of property. Okay, then there is out of community of property without the accrual system. This is where you both maintain your estates. You don't need permission from your partner to buy property, to start a business, all of that. But I think the mistake we make when it comes to thinking about people who are married out of community of property is that they don't manage their household finances together. Like everyone is just this independent person and hey, my money is my money, your money is your money. Guys, I have seen people who are married in community of property that actually are worse than us who are married out of community of property, who actually don't care to discuss money, don't care to manage finances together. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a lady yesterday. I was doing a coaching session yesterday, and she says that the lady who's slightly older, I think she's approaching her 50s, is trying to have a conversation with her husband, and her husband said, no, he married this young girl who didn't care about money. Now she wants to talk about money, talk about retirement planning, talk about insurance, that sort of thing. So you can see those people are married in community of property. He's not necessarily very good with money. He doesn't want to discuss money, but eventually that impacts on her own finances and the decisions that she's able to make around their family finances as an entirety. And I mean, this is someone who earns pretty well. She's an exec at one of the really big companies in SA, and yet she's always struggling financially. And that has a direct impact because of how she's married and the type of partner that she's married to. So please, guys, talk about finances early on with your partner about money. Because one way or another, one thing I know about marriage and one thing I know about finances is that you will be forced to talk about money. Whether you like it or not, whether it's going to be a good conversation or not, you are going to be forced to have that conversation. So the best time to start talking about finances is when things are still rosy, when things are still like, oh my gosh, I love him, I love her more than anything under the sun. So that's in community of property, and out of community of property without the accrual system. Then I think one that is a little bit more fair, that kind of for me is a balanced one, is out of community of property with the accrual system. So meaning whatever you had before the marriage started, you keep separate from what you're going to build together, but you still maintain an independence when it comes to transacting, when it comes to buying stuff. And when the marriage ends, either through death or divorce, then you get to share equally. The other partner who has more will get to share with the other partner, because sometimes people decide, oh no, I'm going to stay at home, raise the kids, that sort of thing. And perhaps you didn't get the chance to really grow in your career because you took a step back because of the decisions that you would have made together. So I think that one is definitely a more fair way of approaching it. And with that one, with out of community of property, with or without the accrual system, before you get married, before the uncles go with the cows and you sing Ali Lili Lili and you celebrate, you have to see a notary. And I get a lot of pushback when I talk about seeing a lawyer beforehand, because people often say, but Mapalo, it's a bit expensive and it will cost you, I don't know, when we did our antenuptial contract was many years ago, it was, I think they charged us 1.5, 1.8, I can't remember, maybe 1.2. I can't quite remember. I still have the receipt somewhere on my email. But obviously, those fees would have grown with inflation and time. So right now I've heard and I've seen people do theirs for 2.5K. If your situation, if your finances, you're like way ahead in terms of your finances, it can be slightly more because obviously it's more detailed. When we got married, we both had nothing. Okay. So I think for me, it's about prioritizing and saying this piece of document is extremely important. And not just focusing on the wedding day itself, because I know we get so caught up with the wedding dress, with the decor. You want a specific interior designer, not interior designer, wedding, what do you call those people who do weddings? I don't know. Those ones who do matching plates and the place looks amazing. People spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands and forget a small piece of paper that can actually have a massive impact on their finances and their future. So I've gone at length about this, but that's number one. We are not getting married in community of property, or if we are, we know the pros and the cons to all of the marital contracts that are available in South Africa. Okay. Then the second thing we're not doing, look at me. We are not doing this. Anybody does this in 2025 and going forward, I'll come and smack you. Taking on credit for someone else. I have heard, and obviously this channel, it's Woman in Finance. My first point of reference is always women, because I work with tons of women. Most of my clients, 80%, 90% are women. So yes, I'm always going to reference women, but it can apply either way, okay? I have seen too many times women who will take on credit. For example, I did a coaching session on someone, and I always tell people that, you know what, I will share your story, not to belittle you, not to look down upon your decision, but so that other people can learn, right? And even she herself says it was a bad decision. She bought a whole car for this partner. And the partner is, okay, in this instance, they've been paying, but when the relationship collapsed, when it didn't work out, she was thinking, goodness, if this person doesn't pay, what does that mean? It means that you are 100% solely liable for that credit. And that's your credit score on the line. That's your finances and financial security on the line. If that person doesn't pay on time, in time, and doesn't pay the same amount that you agreed on. And we have seen instances where people actually just don't pay. They have the car and now it's like, aibo. Well, and in another instance, in this case, they were in a relationship when the guy, I think I've made a video about this. And the guy said, you know what, your little picanto is not up to scratch with the image that I have. And he said, okay, you're paying, let's say, for example, you're paying 5,000 towards your car. I'll give you an extra 3,000-4,000 so that you can buy like a proper car that, you know, I can be proud that my girlfriend is driving. Baby girl was in love and said yes. And she went and upgraded the car when the relationship was not working out anymore and it had broken down, as sometimes relationships do. We're adults here. She was left with that debt because he wasn't going to finance this lifestyle now because you're no longer my girlfriend. So please, anytime someone wants you to take on debt, think about the long-term consequences and say, if this person will not be able to pay me this amount that we've agreed on, will I be okay? Because in most instances, when that happens, then you are left in a complete financial mess. And we are not taking on credit for other people in your name, okay? If they can't do it with their own bank, are you a bank? Are you the bank now? So we are not doing that. We're not doing that this year. Then the third one is lend money to friends and family. I've spoken about this one. It can be very tricky when you're dealing with money and people. And I think also it depends on the character of people and how long you've known them. But even then, it's not advisable. For a lot of people, relationships get broken down because now the friend didn't give you back their money. I've actually had incidences where in one coaching session, this lady was saying, you know what, we're friends, and I would lend them money and they would always bring it back, and it looked like everything was hunky-dory until one time she used her credit card, 50K later, and they said, oh, no, we'll bring it back. You know how we normally do it. A month, 2 months later with a bit of interest. Cool. She goes and extends herself. It's not money that she had. It's money that she had to go take out of her credit card. And lo and behold, this one time they didn't pay. And she tried to get the money. She went to the police station, did this, did that, did all of the things, until one day she said, you know what, Mapalo, this is draining me. I'm gonna cut my losses, I'm gonna pay that. And with that also the friendship went. So don't mix those things. Don't mix those things. And I know it's not always practical, because I'll give you an example, and I think I've given this example before with my siblings. I know for sure with my sisters, my older sister, well, they are older than me because I'm the youngest one. I know I trust them with my entire life. I can give them $1 million today and I know it will come back. Okay. So I think also knowing your family dynamics, knowing your people. I just love my sisters. I truly, truly do. And they have just been the best sisters to me. So that's my only little exception. Everybody else, nah. No. The fourth one, guys, don't ignore SARS, eh? Do not ignore SARS. The South African Revenue Services will find you. They don't play games. Make sure that your stuff is up to date. Make sure that if you have a business, that you're accounting for everything. I have been in situations where I have owed VAT, where I've owed payee. And trust me, the taxman will get what the taxman wants, okay? So make sure that you keep your documentation. Make sure that if you're not an accountant, I'm not an accountant. I did accounting 101, well, I did up until third year. But I'm not an accountant. I actually just don't even enjoy it. I can read a balance sheet. I can read an income statement and kind of make sense of it. But I'm not an accountant. That's not my area of expertise. So I source that out to my accountants and they make sure that I stay on top of things. So if you're a business owner, but even when you are working for a company, make sure that everything's up to date. Your RP5, you file every year, even if you earn the minimum, below the minimum threshold, just file. That is my deep advice to you guys. Then the last one, guys, and this is a very serious one. I know there's a massive growing trend of the trad wife, the traditional wife who stays at home and is completely clueless about bills, doesn't know when what is paid, doesn't know who the bond is with, they don't know about investments, insurance. Guys, that actually is just, and it's romanticized. It seems so cute. There is nothing that makes me cringe more than that. It is dangerous. It is risky. I cannot imagine putting my life, basically my financial life, my life actually, in someone's hands like that. It is not cute, guys. I know it's romanticized. It's seen as, oh my gosh, you're taken care of. But at my big ass age, I've seen just terrible stuff where even I, at some point, I think when I was in my 20s, I've always been a very ambitious person, but I think you have that idea that, oh my gosh, someone is going to come and yes, working will be an option. Guys, I work and it's not an option. I have to work, but also I love working. I love the independence that it has brought me. That I looked at people who were dating or got married to people who looked like were completely financially secure, and for whatever reason, as a family, they decided, okay, you're going to stay at home, or you're going to, pull back in terms of work, or whatever the case might have been. When things don't work out, either through divorce or death, because I think sometimes we forget that even young people can pass away. If you don't know what's going on with finances, if you're not clued up, the headache, already you have heartache because divorce, I'm sure, is bloody draining. Death, my goodness, you've lost someone you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with. And now the lights get switched off. You don't know if this person had insurance. You don't know. Guys, let's not do that. It is not cute. I know on social media it looks cute, waking up and doing all these things, and you just stay at home girlfriend. Wait until you're 45. Wait until you're 50. It does not look cute. And as my mother taught me and my father, who's a feminist, I can't imagine asking someone to buy sanitary pads, to take myself out, to buy. But I mean, like I said, I know not all situations are terrible, but it doesn't have to be terrible. I think you're an adult, and I'm sure it's a wonderful thing if you're participating as well in the family's finances. And I know, of course, relationships are different, and I know people handle finances differently in their families, and partners are different. But I think as a woman specifically, you really, really, really need to just know what's going on so that you don't have surprises. And like I said, I know it's cute. It's a cute idea that, oh my gosh, somebody takes care of it. I don't even know. Not in my books. It's definitely not cute, but I know for some people that can be the ideal situation. And if that's working out for you, perfect. Please ignore everything that I've said, but I promise you, most women at the end of the day have to handle finances by themselves, and you have to be clued up, or at least have an idea of what's going on. Actually, you just have to be clued up. You just have to be clued up. So yes, don't give up your power. Don't be a damsel in distress. Be in control of what you can be in control of. And yeah, those are the 5 things that we are not doing in 2025. Let me know what else you are not doing in 2025. What are you letting go of this year? What are you embracing this year? How was 2024 for you financially? I feel like this year is going to be a good year. And I know perhaps you have a question, where did we move to? We moved to Cape Town. I don't have anything else to say about that, but I'm still traveling between Joburg and Cape Town. It's a little new adventure for us. The kids are happy. That's as far as of a life update I can give, so that, I don't know, for the sake of giving it to you. So please remember to like, subscribe, share this video. And also start having money conversations, guys. Start having money conversations. And as a last parting thing on things we're not doing, I was working with a client, and I was in Joburg just this past week. And I was talking to someone saying to me, hey, Marital, I've made so many mistakes. And I said, okay, give me the lowdown. What's going on in your finances? And I have very specific questions. And I said, you are actually not doing bad. But this person, I think, was holding on to something, a financial mistake they did a long time ago, and she was still feeling so terrible about it. And she was even saying, oh no, I'll contact you maybe for a coaching session once my things are fixed. Guys, you know, when it comes to money, I have seen people who look like they're rich actually have nothing. I've seen people who have nothing actually have nothing. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've seen people who are good with money. I've seen people who are bad with money. And I say in inverted commas because I think if you really work on your habits, you can become good. I'm not perfect with money either, please believe me. But I know what's going on. That I'm fully aware. I know my investments. I know my insurances. I know bills around the house. But I think also my message for 2025 is stop beating yourself up about it so much. I mean, we all have effed up